We've got a good, busy week ahead on the farm. Just like normal in the springtime, it's hard to avoid hard work. So, and today we finally have a break from cold and rain, which the whole weekend was rainy and cold. So anyway, we're heading back to check on the sheep right now and see, I'm trying not to trip going over our fence. Check on the sheep and see if they need to be moved to fresh grass. We need to get meat birds out on pasture today. So we've got a lot going on. And I want to give you guys a full update on the meat birds and talk about that. So we'll get to that in a minute, but first we got to go do morning chores and check on all the critters. Look how tall it is. Is that up to your knee?
Yeah. So.
Some tall grass. I feel like finally the pasture looks good.
Well, and this is like what? We have, over 12 to 24 different seed varieties out here. So we've changed it from being all grass and all corn and soybeans to pasture space.
A lot of work on this pasture. Josh and I are over just checking the asparagus patch. We sometimes will come out here and harvest some, but right now we're just letting it all go to seed because we want it to continue to expand and grow, but he just picked one to show you. So it's giant, giant asparagus. But we have this over on the side of our pasture off to the side and just hoping that it will just take over and let it continue to go to seed and expand and expand and expand. So we planted a couple years ago around 1,000 crowns, and we're just letting them go. So, like I said, the kids will come out here and eat some fresh and pick them when they're little, but otherwise we're purposely just kind of letting it become a food source over here. It's hard to see on camera, but there's lots of tall, they're as tall as I am. So they're five feet tall going to seed. Anyway, it's really cool to see it take off over here and just, yeah, it's just food on site, so you can't beat that. Cramping your style?
Oh, I just need it. Hi puppies. Got my morning greeters. Took up puppies. So we got all of our other morning chores done, and I'm coming in to check on the chicks. They're hardly chicks anymore. The meat birds are in here, still in the brooder, hanging out. And they are more than ready to go onto pasture today. So the goal is usually to keep the chicks in here in the brooder for at least 2-3 weeks. That's my goal, especially when it's cold out still, like in the spring right now. We were still having some freezing temperatures not that long ago, like a week ago. And even though they are definitely big enough, I have still lost meat birds when it gets that cold. And then of course, right after that, it rained all weekend and then another time during the week. And so I don't like putting them out on cold, rainy days. It's just, it's not fun to lose, food, to lose all of the time and effort and energy that you've put into the meat birds, and let's say, you put them out on pasture and it's really cold and really wet. They're just not used to that. So it's a good idea to pick a time to transfer them from the brooder area, where they have heat lamps and they have wind block and all of that. And it's a good idea to kind of condition them and get them ready for that. So
even though I would have liked to put them out on pasture over a week ago, it just wasn't the right time. So I'd rather keep them alive than rush putting them out on the grass when it's wet and cold and risk losing them, because that will happen. You can have really strong meat birds and everything looks good in the brooder area, and then if you put them out at the wrong time, you're just, setting them up to fail, and that's no fun. So I have, for the last week, for the last 2 weeks, I've been watching the weather and looking at the timing of things, but I've also been turning off their heat lamps, so they have not had any heat lamp. I've been kind of getting them used to the cold weather, because we're still getting down in the 40s at night right now. But they're doing great. They're doing fine. They're definitely outgrowing the brooder area. I can easily keep 100 chicks in here, but once they get to the size that they're at, it's time for them to get onto grass. Again, it would have been my goal to get them on grass sooner, but I'm not going to risk losing them. So yeah, everyone has different opinions on this, and that's totally fine, but I would always like to be more cautious and keep them alive than have them just die after the all the work that we've put in, and the money and the investment and all of that. So anyway, William is outside moving my mobile chicken tractor from the storage area of the pasture over to this side, on the west side of the pasture, and we're gonna get them set up out there. We have several dry days before rain comes. I feel like they're not even calling for rain for another 7 to 10 days. So it's a good time to do that, and we're hitting some warmer temperatures this week. It's still cold at night, but as long as they're not wet, they can do pretty good. And I need to make some repairs on the chicken tractor, because that happens, just repair with some chicken wire, put a new tarp over one section for this season, and yeah, they'll be ready to be out on the grass and get lots of fresh green grass and bugs and all of that good stuff. Okay, so we got all of the meat birds out. I'm gonna go muck the chicken stall for our few layers that I'm still gonna leave in there for a little bit longer until they get bigger, because the big layers will be bullies and hurt them. So it's awesome to have the meat birds on grass. Today is only a high of 70 degrees, so I'm gonna leave them uncovered to get lots of sun and acclimated out here, and then towards the end of the day I'm going to go ahead and cover this up with a tarp on half of it so that they have protection from the dew overnight and a wind block from the north wind on that side. So yeah, that's what we're going to do later today, and it's just, I love having animals on pasture. I would always prefer that if we have a choice, and with how fast time is flying, in just a few short weeks these guys will be ready for harvest, put in the freezer, and have a good stock of chicken for the year.